going on with y'all boys? Another NBA season is upon us. We're taking a look forward to our NBA playoff predictions. So, Kyle, who do you have?
So coming out of the West, I've got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Denver Nuggets, and the Nuggets coming out of that series. I really like this Lakers team, but we all know what the Nuggets brings to the table with Jokic and Murray, and they still have Ingram as well. They did lose Bruce Brown, but when you have that much talent, I don't think that's too big of a hit. This team, I mean, is so well rounded. They defend well. Jokic is top three, probably one or two, arguably the best player in the league right now. And I think it just boils down to them just having more talent than the Lakers. I do think the Lakers did make some great moves this offseason, though. Rob Pelinka, their GM, he has to get a lot of credit. What he did last year at the deadline was huge, and what he did this offseason was also very, very huge. I think the biggest concern for me and why I would put the Nuggets over the Lakers at this point is just the health of the Lakers and just the concern. Their best two players are very, I guess you would say injury prone at this point, especially in LeBron's career. He's never had many injuries, but over the last three seasons, he's had the most injuries in his career. We know how brittle and just fragile AD could be. So I think if they come out healthy, I mean, I see the Lakers winning this, but I don't think that'll happen, and I have to take that into account when I make these predictions. So therefore, I have the Nuggets coming out of the West.
I don't think that. I also have the Nuggets coming out. I think that the Nuggets are just going to be a bigger, better version of last year, and I think they were great last year, obviously since they won. But on the other side, I think it's a lot harder to pick than the Nuggets side because you have three great teams that I go back and forth between, which is the Lakers, like you had, the Warriors with their addition of Chris Paul, and the Suns with their addition of Bradley Beal. And
Yeah, no, I do not agree with that. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the East.
no, I'm still talking about the West.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with that being said, I have the Suns with the Nuggets in the finals for that side. I just think that the Suns team has been, I mean, for the last 2 years, obviously have been a force, and I think they're just continuing to move the right direction. I think that Booker, with those players around him, is going to continue to shine. Don't be shocked if he's in the MVP conversation this year. I don't know why he hasn't been a little bit more recognized than he's been. Great player. You wouldn't look at him and say, oh, that's a basketball player, but he is. So with that being said, though, I do believe the Nuggets are the clear-cut number one. I think that's going to continue. So I think the Nuggets will handle every team in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as big of a believer on the Suns as you are. I mean, yeah, I think they have a lot of talent. If you look on paper, they look great. But I mean, it's kind of like just a travel ball team. You just throw stars together and see how it plays. And that sometimes doesn't always work. They don't have a lot of depth at all. They traded all that way to get Bradley Beal, and they don't really have a big man at this point. So I don't see them stacking up against the Lakers or the Nuggets or maybe even the Warriors very well. I think they'll stack up against the Warriors the best, and we'll see that tomorrow night. But I think that the Lakers would I don't think it's a big gap, but I just don't see them matching up with the Lakers very well considering their size. You know, who's going to guard LeBron, who's going to guard AD, and yeah, I mean you can say who's going to guard Devin Booker and KD, but I don't think that's crazy. But I am not as big of a believer as the Suns as you are, just for the simple fact that we don't really know how these guys can play together.
Yeah, and I feel like especially in the West, it's a more apparent than it is in the East with how much injuries are going to play a role in this because it's not like football where one injury can be kind of weighed down by other players and kind of make it seem non-existent, even though injuries are a big deal there as well. But then you look at the NBA and you've got 5 players and really you only have 2 or 3 top guys and a lot of role players around them. So if one of your top guys, say if you have 3 and you lose one, well, now you only have 2 and you're playing 2-on-3 basically as far as when your top guys go. So a lot of it in the West revolves around for me, who's going to play the Nuggets is who can stay the healthiest out of the Suns, Warriors, or Lakers.
Moving on to the East predictions, I don't think there's much to be said here. I have the Bucks taking on the Celtics, and I have the Bucks coming out of that series. The Celtics are great. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of. They made some great moves this offseason. They got Drew Holiday, got Porzingis. I think they're amazing. However, basketball, they have less players on the court, and the players mean more. And I just think that in this series, the Bucks would have the top 2 players, and they would have probably 3 out of the top 5 with obviously Dame and Giannis, and then with Chris Middleton coming in at 5. I really like this Bucks team. This is the piece that Giannis has been needing and waiting for. Yes, they did win the 2020 championship against the Suns, but even back then, he did not have near the talent that he does now. Yes, losing Drew Holiday is a huge hit and bigger than most people think. And I think that will kind of play a role, and we'll see that from time to time. But when you replace him with Dame, I mean, that's a huge jump. For once in Giannis' career, he has a guy who can kind of be on his level. A guy who's gonna draw so much attention. When Giannis drives now and he looks to the corner to kick, guys, we got to shade out there and look now. So I think Giannis is going to have so much of an easier time driving and just have. I think the Bucks going to have such a fluid offense, and I think that piece helps them a lot. Now for the Celtics, you can say the same thing about the Celtics. Adding Drew, adding Porzingis, making these moves, but I think they lost a little more than the Bucks did with with losing Robert Williams, losing Malcolm Brogdon. I think those are big hits. And you get a guy in Porzingis who's good, but he's also very, very injury prone. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he don't play in that series at all because he's so injury prone. So yeah, you traded over these guys to get a possibility of the guy playing there. And yeah, I know injuries play a role in on every team and in every series and in every prediction that you play, but. I mean, I'm not a believer in Jason Tatum. I'm definitely not a believer in Jaylen Brown. Yes, Jason Tatum's a great player, but in the biggest moments, what does he really do? He doesn't really have any really big, huge clutch moments. And we know Jaylen Brown, the turnovers that he has. I mean, I still don't think he can dribble his left hand. So for my predictions, I have the Bucks beating the Nuggets.
To me, I also have the Bucks and the Celtics. So then for me, I have the Celtics coming out. I don't believe that it's a huge gap between these two teams. I don't think there's been for a while. We see them coming together very often in the playoffs. But the main thing for me is addition and subtraction over the offseason. I think the Celtics, I have to disagree with you. I think they had better moves than the Bucks did. The Celtics added Drew Holiday and added Porzingis, but only lost. Now, don't get me wrong. Rob Williams was a big hit. Loved him. But now you have Porzingis playing your center, and you also have Al Horford backing him up. So, I mean, who would you rather have? Then you look, we lost Malcolm Brogdon, but we added Drew Holiday. Very comparable, but I would probably take Drew Holiday. So, for me,
for sure.
I don't know. I wouldn't say for sure because Malcolm Brogdon was great last year for us.
Yeah, but Drew's different, bro.
But Drew Holiday is also a bona fide starter. I would say Malcolm Brogdon is still a six-man or whatever team he goes to.
He's a bona fide top 6 defender.
So for me, also losing Marcus Smart, I think that's the biggest loss for us.
That's such a big loss.
I think that's the biggest loss. Loved Marcus Smart. I think everybody in Boston did. Biggest hustle you'll see in the NBA. So hate losing him, but then you look on the other side and you see the Bucks, who now have Malik Beasley from the Lakers, but losing Drew Holiday, I just see that as a negative for them. I think the Giannis will still be his very dominant self, but to me, I just don't see that there's any way this Bucks team is going to match up with a Celtics team as far as a 5-on-5. I get what you say as far as like your best two, and even that I don't know if it's going to be true this year. I think Jaylen Brown's going to come out. I think he's going to have work in that left hand after hearing so much about it. not funny. And I think Jason Tatum I have as my MVP this year, and I think I'm going to hold true to that. I think he's going to come out. He's going to be MVP caliber, and I think he's going to be dominant from the jump. I think he's going to be dominant all the way through. Expect high-scoring games, expect triple-doubles. So I expect Jason Tatum to really, really get going this year, and I expect him to lead this team all the way to the championship. And then in the championship, I have the Celtics beating the Nuggets. I just believe the same thing with the Bucks. I believe the Bucks and the Nuggets are a very similar team. I just believe the Celtics are more complete. I believe that last year, too. I believe that as far as depth goes and all around, I believe the Celtics were the most complete team, and they almost made it to the end goal, losing right short, and I think this year is going to be their year. I expect Jason Tatum to go big. Expect Porzingis, if he can hold up, to be a big addition. Expect Drew Holiday to have a lot of minutes. And even if you start going down the roll, you start looking at backups. I mean, even if Porzingis gets hurt, you have Al Horford. Drew Holiday's backing up. I think Pritchard's backing him up. So you have a lot of really, really good players as far as depth goes. I just believe the Celtics team is too deep not to be put in this position.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're good, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it back to the conference finals this year. I'm not a big believer. I mean, there's so much pressure on them now with the two big contracts that their top two guys have gotten. All that pressure and really need, and those top two guys, neither have proven they can live up to this pressure
No,
and
you
be clutch
can't
in
say
the
that.
biggest
There's no
moments.
way.
So
No, I understand.
we'll see
If
what
you're
they
talking about,
do, but I mean, I'm not a believer in them at all, but we'll see.
no, you can say Jaylen Brown hasn't, but you can't put Tatum's been a top guy for a while now.
Yeah,
I
he's been a
mean,
top guy, but not the guy.
yeah, but I mean, he's top 5 in the NBA, maybe top 3. I mean, to say that he hasn't proven himself is crazy. Just because
No,
he hasn't
no,
led
not
it,
in the playoffs. He hasn't. No.
just to say he hasn't proven himself and not led his team to a title yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, how close have they been the last couple of years? I mean, right on the brink. This is their year to break through. I'm telling you. And plus, Jason Tatum's still a young guy. I mean, I think he's only in year 7 this year, 8, maybe not even that much. I don't know what year he's in, but
I'm thinking, my boy. It's as best
no,
it's going to get for him, too.
hasn't even hit his prime. Hasn't even hit his prime. So, I really believe in Jason Tatum this year. I think Jaylen Brown's going to be much improved this year. Plus, putting all those weapons around him, I don't see the Celtics team being anything below first this year.
I mean, okay. Also, in the Nugget series, I think the Nuggets still probably have the top 2 guys, but we'll see.
I don't think so.
Especially the way Jamal Murray played last year. I mean, it's a question that they have the top guy. And Jamal Murray definitely outplayed Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is Jason Tatum's 7th year. But yeah, I don't believe that in any stage of the game that a team is going to fully be able to compete against the Celtics. I mean, because as far as completeness you have now, you have your point, you have your shooting guard, you have all 1 through 5 accounted for. And like I said earlier, I mean, you have a lot of teams that have their 2s and their 3s, and then with injuries to those 2s and 3s. Well, now the Celtics have a full 5. I don't believe there's a lot of teams that have a full 5 just like that you can. I mean, unless you're a fan of a team, there's not many teams that you can name their starting 5. So
that's true.
With the Celtics, we know where we're at.
All right, y'all. We're gonna ride the NBA season. We're gonna come back to these predictions and see the Celtics fall short like they always do.
See the Lakers not making the championship game in the
Neither
West.
will the Celtics.
Not in the West.
No, at all.